Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in for another episode. Today is probably one of the last days I'll be able to get out for the year before we freeze over. It is very, very chilly out this morning, but because we still have open water, I figured I would try to make it happen for you. I have zero expectations. When the water's this cold, you never know if you're going to generate a few fish into biting. Maybe if we find some largemouth, maybe a rogue smallmouth or two. I really don't know what to expect today, but we're gonna hit some of these wood targets, try to get some fish that are holding tight to them, trying to absorb the little bit of sunlight we've got today. I'm gonna throw this guy around. This is one of my favorite times to fish a single Colorado bladed spinnerbait. This is the Picasso titanium wire. This is one of my favorites. So you can bend that wire all up and it snaps back into place. These things last forever. They are just amazing. They give off a ton of additional vibration. Hopefully I can show you that they catch a few fish, but this is the time of year when a single Colorado blade really shines for me. The single Colorado blade allows you to retrieve at a much slower pace and keep your bait in the strike zone longer. So it just means you're tantalizing those really cold, lethargic fish into biting because your bait is just barely moving through the strike zone. So let's get out and make a couple of casts. My hands are frozen. I need to start moving around to get them to go. My lips are already going numb. We'll see how this one goes today. Ooh. 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 There he is. Oh, he thumped that so good. What do we got? Little largemouth. Not a bad one. Oh, that's a good sign. That didn't take long at all. That's a good sign. One thing too, every time you do get a fish, when you're talking really cold water period, always throw a cast back. So I know I just lost that fish, but a lot of times there'll be a little cluster of them. And when you trigger one to bite, a lot of times that little cluster that you just had will turn into an aggressive little school for a few casts. Oh, he hit that so good. I was not expecting to feel the line go slack with a thump. Oh God, that is a fish. I think, oh, it's a big one too. That's the type of bites I was expecting right there, where it just felt like a, God, look how fat that fish is, and how gone that is. I thought I was just a leaf. Come here. Oh, look at that. That's how you want it. Just eating. Oh, that one fish made it all worthwhile. If I don't catch another fish, look at that ugly thing. Man, that's a nice, I mean, he's not huge. He's probably 3 1/4. Never even felt the bite. That's the thing. I just thought it was a leaf. We're going down these are deeper channel swing banks is basically what they are. It's like the same sort of thing you'd fish on a place like a Grand Lake, you know, where you have this kind of those 45-degree channel swing banks. You can see the rock up there, and we got a nice tree here. Just the type of bank that the fish would use kind of to winter on, because there's a little bit of extra depth here, and at the same time if the sun would poke out, which would be amazing. They'll warm up a little faster. I thought I had like a leaf, or you know, your blades kind of grab and stop, and it was just like all of a sudden it just like kind of just felt like I was reeling in nothing, just my bait. That first bite I had really clobbered it, that one, and that, you know, that first one was probably a 1.5 pound fish. This one, big one, and don't even feel it. It's wild to me how that works sometimes. There he is. Oh, another nice one. I love that big cold jump. God, these fish are so fat right now. Look at that one. God, they've got it good. Come here. Look at that little mouth. Big body. I like him that way. What a chunk. Man, I'm fishing this really slow. I'm actually kind of just straight reeling this. You know, I'm throwing it up. So this bank is a channel swing bank, and I'm just throwing it up. I'm actually just kind of pulling the bait and then picking my line up. And I'm doing that to keep me as close to the bottom as possible. These fish do not want to come up. The boat's in about 8 to 10 right now. So it's almost like I'm just kind of stair-stepping that spinnerbait down the bank and letting the bait do all the work for me. You know, this blade is so good that even when I stop it and just let it free fall, it's spinning on its own. So from that standpoint, it's being very efficient, stair-stepping down that brake line. So I would generally say when fishing more of a 45-degree angle bank, I like to fish, usually I'll actually start throwing almost more perpendicular to the bank and trying to get a sense for what depth the fish are at. If I think the fish are up on the bank, you know, I'm just trying to understand, are they close to the bank? Are they closer to the boat? And as you kind of dial that in, a lot of times then I'll start casting more to 45 or even parallel to the bank, trying to concentrate at the depth that the fish are holding at. You know, it's a more efficient way to fish. You know, oh, there's one on cue. What do we got? That's a nice little largemouth. Whew. There's a decent one. Come. Oh, okay. Well, he was on cue. The point I was trying to make is I'm actually fishing now, trying to fish a little bit more at a 45, because I feel like the fish, they're definitely not on the bank. They're down in that like 6 foot range, I would say. So if I can get down there and concentrate on that, that'll be a more efficient way to fish. A lot of you are probably wondering why I'm throwing the color that I'm throwing. It's the Tequila Sunset color. So it's like purple with a little bit of pink mixed in. It's just a dark colored spinnerbait. I've had a lot of success on it. It's actually a very popular night color, but I think in your dark colored water, like I'm fishing right here, it can be really good. I also really like the dark spinnerbaits in colder water situations too. I don't know if it's something the fish don't normally see or what, but it generates a lot of strikes. And then in this case, I've got a chartreuse colored blade on it, which is something that's kind of unique to Picasso. But the more I play with colored blades, the more I like them. And there's a difference between painted blades and like these are colored. So these are chartreuse, but they still very much have the shine that you would get with a metallic blade. Just something a little different. And in the darker water, I really like it. And then I've just got the little 3.5-inch Power Stinger by Berkeley on the back in that red color I love. It is, I'm not going to sit here and say it's the prettiest looking spinnerbait because it's gaudy, but I just have had really good success throwing this combination. And the more I fish dark spinnerbaits, the more I'm gonna sit here and say I think they have very much a place in your tackle box. And I don't understand what's going on with this duckweed. I've never seen duckweed this late in the year. I've never really even seen that much duckweed on this lake before, but it's like there's a pile of it right here. And it's not necessarily the best thing to throw a spinnerbait into, but for some reason it's hanging around. And I don't know. Part of me says the fish would like it because it adds a little bit of cover. The other part of me says it blocks the sunlight penetration. So it'll be interesting to see if we get bit right here. Oh, it feels good. Oh yeah. That's another nice one. Man. I love the red lips. That cold water, I don't know why they start going to them red lips like that, but boy, that's another good one. Good, thick, solid fish. Bait still, you don't even have to change the bait. Everything is perfect. Some of you might be asking too, like, why am I not throwing a boot tail? Why throw the straight tail power stinger? And it just has to do with the depth. You know, yes, a paddle tail will really help create that drag and keep the bait, you know, allow me to reel it at a much slower pace. But because I'm not straight reeling it, that paddle tail is not actually what I want, because I actually want my bait to get down deeper. The paddle tail would create drag but keep my bait higher in the water column. I'm trying to create a little bit of bulk on the spinnerbait, which I'm able to do with the power stinger. And with that blade being such a solid thumper, the power stinger tail is vibrating really nice and finely. But if I had the paddle tail version, the bait would stay much higher in the water column. It would not sink nearly as fast. And that's not what I want. I want to be able to stair step it down this channel swing bank. And if I had the power stinger with the paddle tail or any boot tail on the back, that bait would just stay so way higher up in the water column, and I do not think I would be getting the bites that I'm getting. It's just another thing to pay attention to, the different type of trailer you use. You know, if I could go without a trailer, which would allow me then to get it even deeper. The thing is, I really like having the bulk. So I just throw, you know, I've talked about it before. I just put a chunk of plastic on the back, which helps the fish suck it in, helps give the bait a little bit more of a true profile. A lot of good reasons to put some form of plastic on. Doesn't have to do anything in terms of, like, you know, create movement. It just needs to create that profile and the bulk, which helps for a lot of different reasons. I get asked a lot of times what the advantage to a titanium spinnerbait is over a traditional steel arm spinnerbait, because there is a generally a higher price to be paid for the titanium. But one of the biggest factors is just the longevity. Like I've talked about, you can twist these things all up and they won't bend. They go right back into the position they're supposed to be in. So it's much, much harder to break one, you know, versus a traditional spinnerbait. A good spinnerbait day of fishing, you can go through multiple spinnerbaits to the point where, you know, for me, I won't generally fish a used spinnerbait in a tournament because you can't afford to have it break. And if you're catching a lot of fish on a spinnerbait, you're going to break a lot of them. Man, I mean, I've had days, fishing for smallmouth where you catch 50 in a day and you'll go through 5 spinnerbaits because the smallmouth are just so aggressive with it, which is you know, a fun day of fishing. But at that point, 5 spinnerbaits, I just went through $50 in spinnerbaits, where, you know, had I bought a $15 titanium wire spinnerbait to start, I'd only need 1 spinnerbait. They last significantly longer. Generally, you'll use one of 2 things will happen. You'll either dull the hook to the point you just don't want to use it anymore, or the skirt will just get ripped off and you need a new spinnerbait because you've literally destroyed the other components. But the wire is not the part that generally will break on a titanium wire spinnerbait. So that's one. The other is, I actually feel like they give off significantly more vibration. Even though they're stronger, they're actually much more limber. So the blade really gets that arm vibrating better than a steel one. And, you know, with steel, you can get really good vibration, but generally you got to go with a much lighter wire arm. And if you go lighter wire, it doesn't last as long. So, you know, the more vibration out of a steel that you get, the weaker that spinnerbait is and the less it generally lasts. So it's one of those things where not only do you get better vibration, you get longer lasting spinnerbait. So to me, those 2 things really equal a very, very good spinnerbait, and it's worth paying a few extra dollars to start off right off the bat to get a spinnerbait that's going to last longer and a lot of times get more bites. So that's the 2 main differences to it. And it's one of those things, if you haven't thrown a titanium wire spinnerbait, I think you'd be really surprised. You'd just be surprised. I mean, it's one of those things, like, until you really try to break one and physically twist it with your hands, you don't really understand how cool it is that not only does it not break and you can twist it into a knot if you wanted to, it also springs right back into the position it's supposed to be in, which again is one of the problems. Anytime you're fishing a steel one, you got to bend it back into shape, and it's just not as easy to do. So one thing you can do too, if you want to get your bait down deeper and you feel like you really just need a little bit of help in that department, you can go to a slower gear ratio reel. You can go down to your 6 gear speeds. This is a 8.0 to 1, so it's a fast gear ratio reel, but I'm not really using my reel handle to do anything other than pick up some line, because I'm really just kind of using the rod tip to pull it. But the slower you pick up your line, the slower you'll move your next rod tip, which helps the bait sink a little bit. So if you wanted to go to a slower gear ratio reel, you absolutely could do that. I just prefer to have a faster gear ratio to pick up line. I feel like it makes me more efficient and I can control the speed. I just gotta be aware that I'm using a faster gear ratio reel. Other than that, it's pretty standard stuff. I'm throwing a custom built MHX NMB 874 blank, so it's a 7.3 medium heavy fast action, pretty standard all-purpose bass rod, 15-pound Berkeley 100% trilene fluorocarbon, and just having some patience with them. Nice one. Boy, they're eating that really good. Oh, my lips are numb. My hands are numb. Nice 2-pounder. I think we're gonna call it with that, everyone. You can see the spinnerbait still is in fantastic condition. There is nothing wrong with this. Good for another 100 fish probably. I don't even know how many you can catch on this. But check them out. That's the Picasso. This is the titanium wire, just the single Colorado blade. This is the, what is it, the morning sunset color. Go with a red power stinger on the back. And Man, one of the best cold water baits out there. My hands are, oh my gosh, there's another one. What the heck? That was instant. I didn't even engage the reel. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, well, we're gonna leave it with that. I guess I gotta make another cast up there. That was the first one that's hit it right away. Maybe I fired up a little school like I was talking about. My lips are numb, guys. I probably sound terrible right now. My hands are numb. But what a fun day. I had very, very poor expectations coming into the day. You never know with these really cold, ooh, golly, what was that? With these cold water days. And it's just one of those things I feel like a lot of times if you go out with not great expectations, if you just, you know, going out to have fun, that's when you have your best days. That's kind of what today was. I kind of was not sure if I should attempt it or not, and I'm really happy I did now. I gotta make as many days as I can last. You know, when you freeze over for 5 months, 4 or 5 months out of the year, you want to take advantage of all the open water days you've got. And that's what we're doing today. Anyways, I hope I gave you a few pointers you can go out and apply, maybe catch a few fish on your own. Just give it a try. You get better the more practice you get. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And stay tuned, we'll have a new video coming out tomorrow.